Let me ask you something. When you come in on Monday and you're not feeling real well, does anyone ever say to you, sounds like someone has a case of the Mondays?
No. No, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
And it's cool to, like, write something, think it sucks for a while.
Next time you meet me in Gate City. Oh, Cody Pope. I know Cody Pope.
Oh, I see the shirt. I see it.
Our friend is Cody and we not having a good day.
Smack dab in the middle of all that.
Beautifully said, and I love that you said when you have a microphone.
And we were able to do it.
It's about you showing up.
What is your favorite comment that contributes to you?
What up, world? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Cody Central. Welcome back, welcome home, welcome for the first time. If it's your first time, every night is just a little bit different, but we're going to have ourselves a great night nevertheless. Thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. We apologize for the delay in the program. Danny So, as you can see, I have a special guest tonight.
I thought I broke this, Cody. I lost you there for a second. I thought I ruined everything.
No, I was confused. I don't know how you got in, because usually I got to push you in. But I guess we're just having all sorts of wild shit happen tonight.
You got a case of the Mondays, as it said in your intro.
Woo! Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So big thank you to everybody that's watching tonight. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, all that good stuff. Turn on notifications. If you're watching from a Facebook live stream, shout out and thank you as well. Please share this to your page. Let's have a fun one tonight. Before we get things started, I just announced some new performance dates. So right now, you can check me out April 16th at Green Door Studio in Burlington, Vermont. April 23rd at Troop in Providence, Rhode Island, and May 22nd at Canvas in Fitchburg, Mass. For all of my dates and info, check out www.cody-pope.com. And while we're alive and well, let's get into it. We got a great show for tonight. So tonight's guest is somebody that I feel incredibly fortunate to have on the program. As a child of hardcore, I got to witness or hear tonight's guests participate in notable bands such as Break It Up, Drug Test, Ignorance, Yellow Stitches, and more. Following a lifelong dedication to music and community, he pivoted his creative efforts to parlay life experience into stand-up comedy and podcasting. All the while, he has become one of the region's most respected real estate agents, providing a great balance of comedy and education with his social media and YouTube. Experience his podcast LaChance Encounters on YouTube and all streaming platforms, and the second nearly sold-out installment of his out-of-the-box live comedy event, Wrong Hill to Die On, with fellow comedian podcaster Nick Sands. Please welcome to the program, Alex LaChance. Thank you so much for making time, man.
That is the nicest intro I've ever received in my life. I've had to write 2 different bios, one from the mortgage company I work for and one for comedy in the past month. Neither of them were that good. I should have just called them.
I love that, dude. Despite the fact that we had so many technical difficulties to kick this thing off, I swear I did a bunch of research and tried to make this thing as professional as possible.
Dude, I fail on that all the time. Like, I bring in a guest, like somebody I've known for a long time, and I just figure I'm going to be all set to wing it, and then I'll like realize so many of my memories are just fragmented, and I'm like, I have no clue when that happened or who else was involved, and
Seriously.
Good job, man. I respect that big time.
Thank you, man. And thank you for joining the program tonight as well. I know we've kind of like talked on and off about making this happen for a while, but timing is clearly everything. And the big reason we made sure to lock in tonight is because in a week, you and your creative partner, Nick Sands, embark upon the second installment of the wildly fun live comedy game show, Wrong Hill to Die On, at the Shaskeen in Manchester, New Hampshire. So I obviously want to get to that for sure, but I'd be regretful if I didn't at least pontificate a little bit about hardcore before we get there.
Sure.
Hopefully, I tried to make sure there's not too many repeat questions because I'm a fan of airing of grievances. So I heard your interview on there, and obviously I listened to your podcast, so I know you've like told a lot of your life story before. But just for some of the uninitiated around here, do you remember like what age you first found yourself wanting to actively participate in some sort of music community?
I don't know what my problem is, but I can't be a fan of anything. So it's like I got into MMA, I fought a pro MMA fight. I love comedy, so I did stand up, and it's like hardcore was the earliest iteration of that. Was like I went to shows, I was like, I want to be like these dudes, and unfortunately at the time it was all dudes. I was gonna say dudes and ladies, but that probably there were a few, but it was a rarity back then. But I would just see people on stage and I'm like, these are the guys I want to be like. This is what I want to do. That looks like so much fun. And I couldn't really tell you why. It's just only in recent times that I've started like analyzing why I want any sort of attention at all. And starting to question, do I really? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Putting yourself in the public eye. I mean, being a white rapper, I mean, the brutality of that alone. It's like,
yeah, absolutely. It's
like
a little different for sure.
You do creatively, people are going to shit on it, right? So it's like, I don't know. Lately, I've been like, man, I'm really out there in the world. But anyway, yeah, going way back to I was 15. Friends of mine played music. Like it was so normal that kids in my neighborhood would get together and play badly, of anything, playing Nirvana covers, or there was a band in my high school called Corridor, and they would cover Life of Agony and Honky Ball.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was like my entry into underground music. And actually, like I went to go see Korn. I won on the radio tickets to Korn and to be in the Korn cage. On the tour, there was a tour with Incubus and Orgy, and I got to go on stage and be in the cage behind the band during Korn. But outside of that show, waiting to get in, somebody handed me a flyer for a Honky Ball show, and I knew those dudes at my school were into them, so I was like, "Hey, I didn't drive," and we lived in the middle of nowhere, so I was like, "Hey, do you want to go to this show?" Like offering nothing other than the fact that I had the flyer and knew the show was happening. And then I just slowly, people would be like, I had a drum set at an early age, but I could never play. But just having a drum set was a foot in the door. Like I remember many times I'd be like, go to band practice, and I'd end up just watching other people play my drums because they knew how and just didn't have the gear, But just always be like, that might as well have been my role in Yellow Stitches. I mean, I can barely play. I was just there because they needed somebody to take care of them, in those days. So, yeah, that was that. I don't really remember a conscience really like, oh, I'm going to start a band, but it just kind of happened over time. And I just always have had that thing. Like I grew up watching baseball. There's a good example too, is like, I had to play, it's like none of these things I can just be a fan of. I can't sit on the sidelines,
I definitely know that. Unfortunately, I feel that all too well, and everything that I come to enjoy, I turn into some passion project that I lead my life by.
Yeah.
And alas, why I do 2 podcasts and rap and run a record label and burn myself into the ground.
Yeah. And it does, but it's like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like
exactly. It's like, what else would you do?
Yeah, it's like, what do I? Yeah, exactly. What else would I do? Like I don't really get the like. How can you? Especially like it's great now that I'm self-employed. I feel less drive to always have to be doing stuff, even though I am. It's a little bit less through self-employment because that is something that I'm doing on my own, and there are creative elements to that and everything. But it's like I can't imagine having a job you hate and then you just come home and you watch King of Queens or that good 25-year-old reference there. But whatever it is, like I don't even know because I don't I don't come home and just sit on the couch. Like, I don't. You go, having casual chit chat with people, and they're like, "Oh, did you see this new show or that new show?" Almost never, because I don't do that. I don't just sit around much. Now, if it's a comedy podcast or stand-up special, I probably saw it.
Yeah, you're not missing a new episode of Story Wars. I know that much.
I am never missing an episode of Story Wars. I believe it's Jordan Jensen and Ari Shafir on this week. That should be a good one.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm here for that. So
those guys are up like 1 million views an episode. I don't need to be plugging them.
I know. What a gem. So we're like a few years apart in age, but my like introduction to our worlds crossing paths was being introduced to Drug Test, and then shortly after I learned about Break It Up, but sadly wasn't there for that. But I know that
sadly. I don't think you're missing much.
But I'm just a nerd. I just want to experience everything. But I know you had bands in high school prior to Break It Up, and so I was kind of curious. Did you feel like a sense of gravity in the music scene that you were in, or like even the idea of being a band, or did that happen once you moved to New Hampshire?
So, I mean, it just kind of was natural because like I was doing bands in high school that went nowhere. But it's like I played in a band called Social Riot Squad. I remember we used to cross paths with USA Waste, which was like I think it was guys from A Global Threat, if I remember right. And then, I think we even did one show with the Casualties at one point. So it's like I was and like I remember a friend of mine booked Death Threat. They ended up canceling. And we ended up still playing a show with somebody. I don't remember who. I think they might have been like, "Hey, our friends could come up" or something. They just knew they had to appease the high school kids, and make us go away. But it was like, so I was already, before I moved to New Hampshire, like kind of thinking I could take it seriously, even though I had no idea what I was doing. And then I met Josh Hines. Well, I knew Josh Hines already. I had seen, from shows. I didn't know him well, but I was working at the Fox Run Mall in Newington, and this is a rehash story from airing grievances, but I was working at the Fox Run Mall in Newington, and Josh came by with a flyer. He was just flyering the mall because that was shit we did in those days. And Josh already knew what he was doing. Like Josh went to guitar lessons and said, "Teach me how to play power chords." And then he sat there and listened to Carry On and Right Brigade and American Nightmare and just learn how to play those, those riffs. So 10-Yard Fight, Floor Punch, Battery, like all these bands that we were influenced by in those early days with Break It Up and Drug Test. So meeting Josh was like, "I have this band. I need a singer. Join my band." And, he was already booking shows. He was booking shows with other people who had been around longer than him too. So he was like my pipeline to actually learning how to really do it, how to really be in a hardcore band and make things happen and get on the road and do fun stuff,
I love that. It's funny that you mentioned those bands because I feel like this is such a random thing to remember, but I remember booking shows at Anchors Up. His email was like Brightside, like the Killing Time song. And I always was like, damn, that's pretty crazy. Because then that song, Mr. Brightside, was popular at the time. So it was like, man, people only understood.
Yeah, I would go to Killing Time first, no matter what. Even though I love the Killers. I've seen the Killers, and they're great.
Yeah.
That's one of my go-to karaoke songs. Usually, Because You're Young, but I will occasionally rock out Mr. Brightside too.
I love that.
Although I'm not really drinking these days, so I don't do. I shouldn't say not really. I haven't in like 2 years, so I'm not doing the karaoke thing as often. That's not a stone sport. That's a drunk sport.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Welcome back, Danny. I'm glad your power outage situation kind of come back to life, or you figured something out.
Definitely figured it out and got it all taken care of. It was definitely a shocker.
Did the guy stop running on the hamster wheel or what?
Actually, way crazier because I ran outside quickly to call you, and The house I looked at had no power on, and I thought it was my road was out of power. And then I was running back to my house and noticed the house on the other side of me had power. And I was like, well, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? I come in and actually only half of my house had power. I blew a breaker.
What the hell?
I blew a breaker.
Okay.
And it tripped only half of the house. And it happened to be the half of the house that I'm streaming on.
It's crazy, dude. You're podcasting so hard, you're blowing shit up.
Yeah. And sure as could be, ran over, checked the breakers. One of them was tripped, reset the breaker, realized that I had plugged in a heater for the basement to dry the floor.
Oh, this fucking guy.
And I am under the assumption that the heater tripped the breaker because that's the only thing extra on this end of the house. But it's weird because it's the same heater that I had upstairs in my house. I just moved it downstairs.
Why is it that technology has advanced so far, but things that create heat still draw so much power? Like our light bulbs draw like no power now, but like a hairdryer will still, like if you're on a generator, a hairdryer is all you can do. Like what is that?
That is crazy. That like blows my mind that we're like, I feel like the situation with space heaters like hasn't changed in decades where it's like if you write, it's like, nope, don't use one. Don't even try it.
I just fucking learned today that these Tesla batteries just burn forever. And I was like, why can't you just smother? Why can't you just bury the thing or whatever? And they're like, no, they create their own oxygen. Like,
yeah, that's
they
crazy.
create their own oxygen. That's insane. So they can just burn underground. They've been running water in Merrimack on a car that hit the toll booth like a week ago. They're still running water on this thing.
Holy crap.
Actually, Cody, you and I we talked about that on Wednesday. It's about that car.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, was it the day that you guys have your show?
Yeah, because they posted who was the driver.
He was some famous guy, right? I forget.
Yeah, it was Eugene Merman.
Okay, yeah.
He's a comedian, but he's also like a voice actor for Bob's Burgers.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. That's right. Yeah. Get well soon, Gene. Did he live?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope he lived well. Now that I'm saying that.
All right. Well, I do want to I want to make sure we get to the show. So, Danny, do you want to jump in and toss some questions out so we can make our way to Die on the Wrong Hill?
Oh, absolutely. Hardcore being such a unique and evergreen community, yet much younger than many other contemporary forms of music, was there a particular moment where it really sank in exactly what you were a part of?
It wasn't until like really recently where I actually was able to step back and appreciate how and be able to say and admit out loud how influential some stuff that I've done is, and how, you know, in my circle of friends and kind of a lot of what's going on in hardcore today is so heavily predicated on stuff that, you know, Cody was there way back in the Anchors Up days. I mean, so much of that was happening is what has led to the Oi influence in the hardcore scene being so strong again. A lot of bands having, you know, melody, you know, that comes, I will take credit that Yellow Stitches brought that back. You know, there were other bands doing it, but I don't think it spread as wide because we were playing with hardcore bands. You know, a lot of those other bands, like we would get like I remember playing with the Templars down in New York, and like that's a legendary Oi band, and like everybody in the band was excited. I'm like, it's probably not going to be that good. And it was like, it was a good show. There were plenty of people there. It was fine, but like no one cared that we were playing. And then it's like, we go play like a hardcore show with any random hardcore band, the kids would go nuts. Like even if they hadn't heard of us back in that time. So like, you know, I think we did spread it around hard. And then I just look, you know, I look at what Haywire's doing, and like I mean, Austin came here to run Anchors Up. I mean, that all started because we had that foundation. And I was when they did that big show Under the Bridge in Boston. I was standing on stage, and an old friend of mine was standing next to me. He goes, "This is your fault." Like, what are you talking about? He's like, "This is your fault. Yellow Stitches did this," and I was like, "Nah, man, nah." And then they went into a song, and it had a riff in it that I'm like, "Okay, you're right. You're right. We did do this." So it's like I've finally been able to appreciate that. Like everything that I've been a part of, like is for better or worse. I was somebody that's influential in the scene, and in a small way, in my own little small way. And it took a village. It took, dozens of. I could go through names of 50 people that I think are, it all had to come together for that perfect storm to make it all work. But yeah, I have just in the last couple of years looking at, some of what my friends that are still out there grinding it out in that scene are doing, and like listening to some of the records now, and just taking a step back. Like the timelines were so warped for me, right? Like for so long too. It's like if you look at like the Drug Test record, that was 2004. At that time, so that's 22 years ago. At that time, Age of Quarrel by the Cro-Mags was only 18 years old. So like you're talking, and we thought that was like legendary historical shit. And it's like now my stuff is in an era that's kind of historical. And most of these kids at the shows now weren't there, no matter what. And I don't say this to be like the scene is not mine anymore. It's moved on without me. I'm not trying to claim it belongs to me or anything now. It belongs to the kids. It always will belong to the kids. It's a youth movement. It's for what you're supposed to figure your life out so that you don't really need hardcore. You should always don't forget your roots. I believe in that big time, but it's like you should. The skills that you learn and the life values you learn, life lessons you learn should propel you into other stuff as well. And there's nothing wrong with still having it be a major part of your life, but it's I think if you're not evolving too, you're missing the point of it a little bit. Sorry, that was a crazy long-winded answer that got way away from your original question, but that's what
but I mean, you tapped into my next question, so that it's kind of funny. So I mean, I think you kind of answered it, but like, I should note that like in the question I was going to ask, I did mention that like, even though some of the bands that you were in were only active for say like a few years at a time, it's insane and it's beautiful to see how much they've influenced and shaped generations of listeners to follow. I've literally seen videos of kids covering like Down the Stairs from Drug Test, or doing a Yellow Stitches cover.
A band just did Down the Stairs in Manchester like 2 weeks ago.
I wonder if that's the one I saw. It looked like young kids covering it too, and it's like
I wish I could remember the name of the band. I went and listened to them after. A pretty good band from Florida.
Yeah.
No, they were from Pennsylvania, which was like they were from like kind of near Wilkes-Barre area, which was like a home away from home for us because
that Posse Numbers Fest.
Yeah, we used to do Posse Numbers Fest, and Bob, who put that on, put out our record too. So we used to get down that way all the time. I remember playing with Title Fight when they were like children down there.
That's wild.
Literally like 14 years old.
That's so crazy.
Did we freeze? I was waiting for the.
Oh no, Danny had the alley-oop.
Yep. The landscape of hardcore has changed so much for the better or worse, and has changed, shifted, and expanded the spotlight onto new bands from veteran music members, new bands from the youth at shows, reunions of notable bands from decades past. No matter what the focus is, hardcore seems to be much bigger stage now, literally and metaphorically. How does it make you feel seeing bands launch and come together today versus how bands developed in the earlier years of your music trajectory?
Younger me, what's going on now would have pissed me off, because even though I was always kind of like, Bane would talk about open arms and open hearts, like I believed in that. but there was still a little bit of gatekeeping, in my brain. And somebody said to me recently, I was at the Turnstile Speed Show at Suffolk Downs, and somebody else that was there had texted me. He goes, maybe a little bit of gatekeeping would be important, but at the same time, it's like right over here on my wall is it's a chain of strength Turnstile poster from Anchors Up with Strife, and like they probably left with $50 to $100 that night. Had to scrounge money together for food, like sleep on somebody's floor. I'm thrilled that they can now comfortably tour around the world. Like, that makes me happy. Like, bands kind of, we used to like kind of scoff at that. It's like, oh, you're ripping off the kids, but it's like, they're giving us a gift. Like, why should they have to suffer to give us the gift of touring around and playing their music? Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Sleeping on floors, literally sleeping on concrete, like going on tour, eating Vienna sausage out of a can, SpaghettiOs with the hot dogs. I used to love those cold right out of the can. And like, I don't regret, I don't like, no, there's no woe is me, but that's not sustainable, right? Like, that's not like, you can't be Terror and do that for 25 years. You need, at some point, there needs to be money flowing in if you want these bands to keep coming out and doing your shows, or coming out and playing in your city, and giving other bands a chance to open for them too. That's important too. You got to have the big bands come through so the little bands can go and play with them and get some exposure, So I think it's all 90% good. I mean, there's always pros and cons to everything, right? So like, there are negatives that come along with it. And I think, I see some of the stuff I see on TikTok, some of the commentary about hardcore from like 19-year-olds. It's like, you're kind of missing the mark. And it's like, when it grows so fast and rapidly, and you have these shows have 2,000 people in them, they're not learning directly from, like, the kids that walked into Anchors Up at 14, 15 years old. It's like, they were under our wing, like, directly, like, you're going to learn right from wrong from us. Our moral compass wasn't great at the time, but at least we had one. It's like, these kids just have, they're coming into shows. They're going to see Drain and Haywire and the Have Heart reunions and these shows that are 2,000 people. They're not getting that. They need to be going to the hall shows. But it's like, if 2,000 people went to those shows, they'd be shut down. So how do you really solve that problem? It's funny too, like you say, it's bigger than ever, but it's like, I'll still see videos pass through on my feed where it's some 17-year-old kids playing in front of 12 people. That's still out there. Like, at the time I was doing it, it was like, we would go to the Palladium and see, Bane or the Circle Jerks or Blood for Blood or whatever, play in these huge shows. And we were playing in front of 10 people in a hall in Kensington, New Hampshire, a town that nobody's ever heard of, So I think, it has grown a lot on the top end, but the low end's still there. And for the most part, it's great. I mean, I'm glad that my friends don't have to sleep on floors. I'm glad they can eat and enjoy themselves on the road and spread the message. And I love it when I see my friends sitting down on tour for a steak dinner. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Right. And
so,
you just made me think of it too. Shout out to the Kingston VFW. What a fucking place. I was lucky enough to play at least a show there, and I think I went to like 2 or 3 shows there, but it was always pure insanity.
So I mentioned Kensington, not Kingston, but yeah, the Kingston. I remember I had a shirt for years. I had somebody's blood that they spit all over me from that hall. There was a lot of people ended up booking there. I think it wasn't just like Josh. I think Josh found it, but I think some other people started booking there. Yeah, but that was Drug Test's first and last show, technical last show. We did a reunion once. But
I remember that. That was Pepperell, right?
Yeah, Pepperell was the reunion. Yeah, it was. There was a little bit of legal trouble at the time, and we had to fundraise for some attorney assistance.
Yeah.
So we did a reunion for that. Yeah.
Worthy cause, I'd say.
What the hell's Nick Sands is in these comments over here talking shit? Isn't he supposed to be on this with us?
He had the
I
invite.
love this angle I set up to. Oh, good. The bald spot's protected by the headphones. Oh, he said that Nick says the first conversation he ever had with me was about our love of Vienna sausages. Good stuff.
I love that. All right, it's hard to not want to do like a behind the music because of your history, and I know the bands and the venues and the scenes and the people that you've contributed to and participated with. But I want to make sure that we cover each aspect of your life equally. So with that in mind, what do you feel like are the most important things that you've kind of learned or gained from your experiences in hardcore?
So the DIY mentality is if there's something you want to do, take the steps, break it down, figure out what the steps are, and check those steps off a list one at a time and figure it out. Don't let anyone else tell you you can't do something. Don't wait for permission to do the things you want to do. Just make it happen for yourself. It's like, and Nick and I with this comedy game show, it's like, we look insane in the comedy world booking shows with us as like the top billing, like as the host, because and hosting typically in comedy means a whole other thing. Your host is usually your opener that introduces all the other comics, but in this, since it's a game show format, we're the host, so we're on stage the whole time. It's our concept, we're presenting ourselves as the stars of the show, right? In comedy, that doesn't happen. Like, comedians go so long without ever getting booked for anything. And I keep telling a lot of these comics, because it comes from my hardcore background. It's like, hey, why don't you ever think to just ask these promoters if you can get on a show? And it's like, it's a resounding no for most of them. It's like, go ask, go send them a tape, I guarantee, like, some of these guys I see and gals I see are fantastic. I'm like, if you just talk to somebody, let them know you're interested in playing their venue or jumping on their shows, you could probably get shows. But I learned that from hardcore. It was like, I was 19 years old emailing Blood for Blood. Hey, want to play Manchester, New Hampshire? Like, oh, $2,000? Yeah, that's more money than I've ever had in my life. But sure, I can guarantee that. But the most like notoriously violent band ever. I'll just do that. But that's the biggest takeaway. Is just like from hardcore, is just like, if there's something you want to do, just do it. You want to go on tour, you book the tour. You send emails. In my day, it was get email addresses of promoters and email them. Nowadays, you're just DMing people. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk's become kind of a cliche in the world now, but like, I've heard him talk about like DM 1,000 people a day. You have the time. Just everybody in that space you want to be in, DM them, introduce yourself, offer your service, your art, whatever it is, to those people. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what hardcore taught me big time, and I apply it to everything. Is just go get yours, go get what you want. Don't let anybody else. Don't let anything stand in the way. Open your own gates.
I love that, dude. That's like exactly how I feel.
So with that mentality of like, go get it, and while supporting and promoting hardcore regularly, you've developed some other paths that have like tremendously impacted you and the community you're a part of. Where were you in your life that happened to spark the transition into real estate?
So this is a story I have told many, many times on podcasts, but it's an important one. I was middle management at a construction company, and I just had a complete mental break one day. I mean, I just lost it. I was throwing stuff, yelling at people. I mean, threatening everybody on the way out of the door. Like, I just had complete, like, I remember at one point my boss going, Alex, you can sit down and talk with me, but if you keep doing this and you walk out the door, it's over. And I said, good. Cause it's just like, I didn't want to be there anymore. It was like, something in my brain said, burn this bridge and get yourself the fuck out of here once and for all. I was miserable. I was the most unhealthy I've ever been in my life. I was drinking a shit ton. I had a 3-month-old baby at home at the time. And I had $1,000 in my bank. I didn't know what I was going to do, really. I had thought about, and I don't really ever remember what led me to look at real estate before, but I had looked into it before. And my wife that next day after, the dust has settled, we stopped panicking and crying about our situation. She said, you always wanted to get your real estate license, no time like the present. What I didn't really know about real estate is that it takes you, most people on average, 3 to 6 months to even start making any money. And even then it's not enough. And by that point, you're going to be behind if you haven't done anything else. So I did like Uber and Instacart delivery and DoorDash and all kinds of shit to make ends meet. In the meantime, I worked for a friend of mine's car restoration shop. Did all kinds of like odd jobs and stuff just to get myself up and running. But I think the main thing I knew at that point, whether it was real estate or anything else, is like I just couldn't have a boss again. I couldn't work for somebody else again. I couldn't follow anybody else's rules again. I had to just be on my own and make my life the way I wanted to make it. That goes right back to the hardcore philosophies. Comes directly from that scene for sure.
It's funny you say that too, because obviously being in a hardcore band is obviously a much more tumultuous thing business-wise than any traditional business, let alone being in a band of any other genre of music for that matter. So making the transition to real estate, is there anything that like mastering your craft in real estate has taught you that's allowed you to hone your creativity differently?
That's an interesting question. I've never really looked at it that way. I think what it has done, like if I started a band now, I would do things a lot differently. Like learning about business and learning about sales and marketing in a professional manner. It's like I always knew how to market, but like I don't know, beating somebody up on a video and having it go viral on YouTube was a different kind of marketing. It got drug test known, but I think it ain't gonna work in real estate, right? So I always like now like anything else I approach. So it's like I've gotten into comedy now since I've done real estate. It's like I know so much more about marketing, about business, and like knowing all these like real things, not just trial and error stuff, like stuff I've actually sat in professional training on. I can now apply that to anything, whether it was my podcast or whether it be The Wrong Hill to Die On, my open mic that's weekly. Like I've really gotten a big understanding of like what it actually takes to generate a response on something, to get people on board with coming to see your thing or using your product or service. Like it's really all the same. Danny and I were talking about it before you got here earlier, before we went live. We're talking about like drug dealing and that being equivalent to like a business is a business,
Yep.
And it's like it's all the same skills. It's just different industries have little niche ways of doing something, but you can always port it over to something else. I think what I've learned in real estate applies to anything creatively. If I want people to see the creative thing. Now, as far as the actual art, if you want to call what we do in comedy art, it doesn't apply. I've tried to write bits about real estate, and it's just like the rooms I'm in, nobody wants to hear about my white collar bullshit, like that's just it's not entertaining to them. That you got to self-deprecate in real estate. It's like immediately anything I say talking about real estate sounds like I'm putting myself on a pedestal. Did I say in real estate you got to self-deprecate in comedy, not real estate? In real estate, you brag and pretend that you're something you're not. I don't, but that's what they do.
So speaking of like honing creativity, over time you've transitioned from hardcore to honing your craft of stand-up comedy, as well as doing a really great podcast called LaChance Encounters. What inspired that, and is there anyone you'd like to attribute influence to?
Well, I feel shameful talking about the podcast now because I've kind of put it on hiatus a little bit. I'm gonna get back. There's one in the can. I gotta get out there. Then I gotta start recording again soon. But I got myself a little overwhelmed at the beginning of the year here between all the things I was trying to make happen. But anyway, yeah. It was my second time dabbling in podcasting. I I enjoy people's stories, really. I mean, I think that's like at the root of it. That's why I like doing it. I like the long form of just sitting around and having a conversation. I mean, how many times at show there's another thing we were talking about is like after shows just bullshitting, for hours on it. It's like I've done that till I've stood in a parking lot after a hardcore show till the sun came up. It's just
Oh,
chatting, and it's like the gold that comes out of those conversations. And it's like, what do we need to monetize our friendships 24 hours a day and throw every conversation into the public space? No, but there is so much value in people just conversing and listening to people converse and the ideas and everything that you might not normally hear in a traditional style of media, or read in a book. Stuff comes out different when it's just people having a conversation, and the longer you go the better it gets, and that's podcasting being unlimited. And I know like Joe Rogan's pretty divisive this day and age, but it's like the thing that he does of just like, hey, we're just going to talk for 3+ hours, or even longer on some of those, like that. It's not like rocket science or anything, but it is something that brings out stuff from people that you would never hear otherwise. Like, I think it's an absolute shame that Kamala didn't go on during the election cycle, because we might have gotten to know something about her. We still know nothing about her, right? And it's like,
wow.
I think that's like, so I'm not necessarily like an influence, but it's just the format in general, and he of course is one of the pioneers of it. It just lends itself to that higher level of conversation where you're gonna peel the onion back so far. You're gonna get the real stuff out of people, real thoughts, important thoughts, that you don't get on any other sort of media, and that's what I like about it. And then it's also like it helps expose good people. That was, I one of the ways I learned in real estate to market is to not market, is to help other people market, right? Is to like push other people's stuff out, and they appreciate it, and then they push you back, and like, so to be able to bring on guests and say, hey, what is it you do? Tell people that know me and don't know you what you do, where to find you, like get to know, like one of my favorite ones was Chuck from Brothers Cortado in Concord. It's a coffee shop. There's so many coffee shops, but like for a guy like Chuck, a very personable guy, very passionate about coffee. We had a lot in common to talk about too. To have that go out into the world from my channel, I think is a boost for him, because it's like, okay, now people, it's not just a coffee shop, because like, let's face it, you're getting coffee most of the time, you're going to go with it, whatever's close, but you get to know the guy and you're like, okay, I want to support that guy now. I think that's huge too. So that was my kind of my goal through podcasting, was to try to help elevate other people. And I think it's a great way to do it.
No, I definitely agree. Going to the show a little bit, there are some great comedy nights in motion. You have Laugh At It at Strange Brew. Shout out to Danny P. You have the Ruby Room comedy at Shaskeen. You have Wicked Joyful comedy at the Queen City Center. But what you guys have started with Wrong Hill to Die On is a really fun standout comedy format. How did you guys come up with this, and what was the inspiration to do something that's like so immersive in terms of like the crowd and comedian interactivity?
Well, it goes to, from where I said podcasting is so great, podcasting is also saturated, right? And there's so like, it's just endless. There's endless white guys talking about stuff. It's just,
literally.
Yeah, middle-aged white guys bullshitting about stuff is just, the norm. So it's like, I said to Nick one day, I'm like, we need a format that's different. And really, I always thought of Wrong Hill as a podcast. The first episode, we had some issue with the auto capture, and I did release it on my podcast platform, but it really didn't come out as a podcast. I just, in quality, I don't feel like it was good enough for that. But really, that's how I thought of it. I was like, I want a new podcast format. It's again another divisive thing, but there's Kill Tony. You know, that's a unique format, and it's one of the biggest podcasts in the world, right? And then, but Story Wars, really, you mentioned it earlier. Story Wars was the one that made me go, we got it, because it's like, okay, here's a second group of guys that all have podcasts. Like everyone on that show has the standard just shooting the shit podcast, but they went and did something different. I went and saw it in New York, and it was Louis J. Gomez and Big J, the two hosts, and then it was all the guys that are on the regs with Louis. So that's Joe List, Dan Soder, and Bobby Kelly. Bobby Kelly, who has been on my podcast. But yeah, but it was just, I went there, saw it live. I had gone down to the city. I'd done like a few hours of open mics. I think I did like 3 open mics, and then I went to that show, and it was just like in the room, just felt so good. I was like, this is what we need. We need something that's a unique format. I came home and I talked to Nick, and I was like, we need a unique format. I'm like, I'm thinking game show, but I have no idea. Like, I don't know how to do it without being derivative of something else. And it's like, hey, we go back, and do you remember they had the Game Show Network on cable, right? I mean, there were like 10 versions of the same show, right? So like, I mean, I guess you don't necessarily have to not be derivative, but it's like, it's a fear to be compared to somebody else, right? Like, it's a fear. So it's like, I wanted to be unique. And it was probably like a year later, Nick called me and said, hey, I have this idea. And he had it pretty much fully baked out the way you saw it back in January. The exact format that we did was pretty much what he had. And we're making some tweaks this time because some things didn't work quite right. But you know, he had it baked out. And Nick's like, I'm good at having a big, broad idea and then like not being able to figure out all the details. Nick will sit there and hone in the details and hammer away on a keyboard and figure things out and come up with a format. And that's what he did. And that, you know, that it came out great. You know, I was shocked. I mean, I remember he were you there at the beginning of the show?
Yeah, we got there before like doors opened.
Okay, so Nick said at the very beginning, he read a text message where he had said something about selling 40 tickets or something, and I told him he was dreaming, and then we sold 80. So it was like I had no idea it would do that well. I had no idea people would really enjoy it. Like I just was like, this is a test. I was like, this is a test run, and it ended up being like an epic night. It's going to be hard to top it. I think we got it. I mean, the second I came home that night, I wrote down about 20 notes of things to do differently. As far as the production for after the fact goes, we're bringing in a professional video guy this time. I have to apologize to him because I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but he's worked on Dexter. So I was like, well, if he can make that slow motion blood splatter look cool, then he should be able to do a comedy game show. So I think we're going to have a better show this time, but I mean, it was just so good. We caught lightning in the bottle there from that first one. I get a little nervous, but I think we're ironed out a lot of the kinks and we got a great lineup for it too.
Yeah, that first one really was so much fun. I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, it was the first one, but just from the flyers and the pod episode you guys did, I was like, this is worth the gamble. And I think I got one of the last, I think there was 3 tickets left, and so I bought 2 of them for me and my girl, and we went and we had a blast.
We only did $5 tickets too, because we were like,
exactly.
I didn't want to do free tickets because then you can never gauge who's coming. But we did $5 tickets practically giving away because I was just like, you know, we're just testing a format. And now that it's proven, we raised our ticket prices so we can hopefully not lose money one day.
Yeah, well, it's worth it too. People that have fun understand that it's like you're paying to see the production get better, and it's like if you want the show to be fucking, you know, not to compare it, but it's like if you want a Story Wars level show, you got to put some money up so people can afford to do the thing the right way.
Well, I think too when you're dealing with like comedy fans of today, if you go back 20 years ago, nobody knew what an open mic was, and now an open mic is on Netflix. You know, If you go, nobody realized, like, and I still hear it today, but like comedy fans know, but it's like you still like the whole like this new comic, right? They're overnight success. Like people call Matt Rife an overnight success. It's like he's been on stage since he was 13 years old. 13 years
Yeah.
old, it's like there is no overnight success in comedy. It's a very hard thing.
Yeah, I think as a culture, we get mad at people who learned how to adapt before us.
Right. Yeah. So it's I forget what my point was on all that, but I think comedy fans know if they go to a show and it's just some local guys that they see with day jobs, they understand that like we're in the process. We have to do this now. It's the only art form where you have to put it out to the world way before it's ready. Like you don't practice comedy. Like you write it and then you go up in front of people. That's your practice. Because when I first started, people would always be like, "How come you never tell me you're doing comedy?" It's like I don't want you to see it. It's like inviting you to my band practice. I just had the experience for the first time the other day of some of my very high end clients coming out to see me do comedy, and I mean they sat dead center.
Oh my gosh!
Nobody between me and them. I was just like making eye contact with them the whole time, and I got done, and they were walking out. I was like, "Do you guys still respect me?" Like, no, we respect you more. That was awesome. Like good. And they're like really good, like family people, like go to church and stuff. And I was just like, man, the stuff I'm saying is not. You guys are gonna hate me, but I mean, most you forget that like most people have a sense of humor. Most people have a dark side. It's just like as comedians, we're showing we're saying on stage what most people say in a DM. That's all it boils down to.
And at the end of the day, it's a joke. That's what we're there for. Our jokes.
Yeah, the problem with jokes is if your joke isn't funny, then you just look like an asshole, and you don't get because you're saying something rude. And if it's funny, people laugh, and then it feels good. But if they don't laugh, it's like, oh, I just said the thing. Just whatever that was that I just said that was insulting is now just an insult. And you don't get to find out what's funny until the first time you say it in front of a room of strangers. Really, So.
And that's the tough part is, like we were referring, like we're going to a band practice, but it's more like you're inviting them to the writing session of the song.
Yeah. I mean,
like, the song may not be very good right now, but
well, it's like a lot of times, if I write a new 5-minute set, I might pull one joke out of that by the end. Like by the time I whittle it all down, 5 minutes of new material that I wrote usually boils down to 10 to 20 seconds of what I feel like is actually usable. And then it's like, Danny P, friend of the show, Danny, he told me in the very beginning, he's like, you got to try everything a bunch of times. I can't remember. He gave me a number. I want to say he said like 6. You got to do it at least 6 times before you scrap something. So that's like 6 times of going up there and bombing in front of different people, saying the same thing. It doesn't feel good at all. But it's like, that's the process, right? And to what you said, that's the writing process, because you're trying to figure out what you wrote, what in the mess of things that you wrote actually translates to real jokes, real material.
I know that I've heard other comedians like say that they like went like 6-month tour where they worked on a joke for the whole 6 months, and it was by the end of the 6 months that like they finally had it put together, like timing wise, joke wise, to like have it finally figured out. But it took them quite some time to figure it out.
I went to Tom Segura at the SNU Arena in Manchester with a mortgage group and a mortgage friend of mine. They're all over the arena. It's like, do not record, giant signs, everywhere. And he's like, why are they so adamant about this not recording? And I'm like, oh, because he's working on this material for a special. It's probably going to be another year of him doing this same material, trying to work it out in the best way possible. And he goes, you mean he says the same stuff every night? Like, yeah, Yeah, like it's funny because a lot of people don't know that. They think you're going and seeing a unique show every night, but if it was nobody can bullshit that well. I mean, it's just it has to be curated and worked on for so long.
I went and saw a comedian perform, and I was super excited. It was a super funny set. And then like 6 months later, they released their special. And when I was watching the special, it was basically the same set, just revamped a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was kind of still new a little bit, and it was still funny because it was a little different. But I was still sitting there going, I heard this. Like, kind of heard this already.
I had a fun experience of I was out for a seminar or class or something out in Detroit at this big mortgage company, and I went and saw Louis J. Gomez in Detroit, and he was like pretty much at the beginning of his run of doing new material at the time. And then right before he filmed his special, I saw him in Portland. And then the special came out, and it was like kind of neat because it's like I saw the beginning of some of these jokes, and then I saw the end, and then I saw what the final product was, and it was neat to see that whole process kind of, as a comedy nerd. It was really neat to see how somebody does that. It goes from the beginning of the material to the finished special. And I've seen like Sam Morrill record a special. I saw Jordan Jensen right before she did hers. I enjoy that. Like I really enjoy seeing what it turns out to be on tape versus what it felt like in the live experience. Again, huge nerd.
No, I'm with you, dude. You'd probably be amazed at how many comedy podcasts I spend my day listening to, and it's like I admire the ecosystem that comedy thrives in, and like as a musician, I like look to comedians, and I'm like, if I could do that as like a rapper, I would give a shit so much less. Like even what you said about just doing empty open mics and stuff like that, it's like. I have nights where, I might be in a 100-person room, or maybe I'm doing a big gig on a multi-thousand-person show once in a lifetime or whatever. And then some nights I'm playing to like 5 or 7 people. But like, if you go and turn those 5 or 7 people over, they're going to come and buy the ticket the next time that you're in town, and they're going to bring a friend, and it's like, it all builds up. So it's like, I try to never look down on any of the gigs I get, as frustrated as they might be sometimes.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've done empty like Portland, Oregon, furthest I've ever played from home. We played in front of 7 people. It's like after driving all the way up from the Bay Area in Cali. It's like I've done these empty rooms. I've gone a long ways to play these empty rooms doing music. It's the feeling is worse in comedy. Because it's like if you have a 100-person room and you only make 10% of them laugh, it still feels good. If you have a 7-person room, statistically, that could be 0 people laughing if you're having the same success rate. So it's kind of miserable to do comedy into silence, but you get used to it too. It's like it happens. It's something you go through. It's a part of the game, really. But like I think like no matter what, because your music's your music's dialed in before you get there, that the crowd's gonna. And it's like music's a little less. I don't want to say. I guess it is. Like jokes are so like subjective. Like whether and the more niche you get on a joke, the less likely it's going to hit somebody. And that's what these higher level comics have in their favor is they're now playing to their crowd. Like I went to see Dan Soder at the Wilbur, and I looked around. I'm like, oh, every single person is a fat dad with beard and glasses. Every single fucking guy on this floor is me. We're all stoned, waiting to see all between 38 and 42. Like it was ridiculous. So it's like obviously all this stuff about growing up in the 90s is going to hit hard, right? But it's different when you're just doing random spots doing comedy.
It looks like we got Nick to join us to close things out tonight.
About fucking time, loser.
What's happening, everybody? How are you?
What's going on, Nick?
You made it to the last few minutes of the show. I'm glad you're here, man.
Hell yeah, dude! Can I just say, Danny, you're like the fucking epitome of don't judge a book by its cover, dude. When I signed on, it was like this guy's got missing a tooth, he's got no electricity, and then your first question is like the evergreen nature of hardcore. What do you think is like the? Can you expand on the ideas of cultural blah blah blah? And I was like, damn, dude, this guy's smart as fuck. So I just wanted to say that.
You just walk in and insult the guy immediately?
Yep.
So, I mean,
I'm okay with it.
I meant it as a compliment. It's okay. You can make if you want. I'm fat and bald, so you can make fun of me way easier than I can make fun of you, dude.
I mean, he is wearing a hat, so we don't know about his baldness.
Well, actually, I'm gonna piss you off then because actually I'm 46.
Oh, what the fuck, dude?
With a full head of black hair.
That is beautiful.
That I can actually use styling product in. And I have to see a barber twice a week to get it cleaned up or every 2 weeks because, you know, it grows like that.
That is beautiful, dude. I wish I had that, dude. I fucking
I
haven't
mean,
had that in a long time.
We all have hopes and dreams, bro. It's okay.
I bet he has a lot of stuff you wish you had.
I got a small dick too if you want to make fun of that.
I'm Hawaiian, bro. What are you talking about? They call me Commander Tuna Can for the reason because I can't hit the back of a tuna can, but I'll blow the sides out that bit.
Anyways, I'd like to make an entrance. How are you guys doing tonight? You guys are doing great on here, by the way. I've loved listening. Sorry I'm so late.
Oh, no worries, dude. I was going to say, I keep leaning into talking to this microphone that's not even plugged in because I'm wearing fucking AirPods, so that's how tonight's going. But Nick, while we have you here, we've been talking about the show, obviously, as you heard, but can you kind of give us a rundown of, like, what the format is and, like, what people can sort of expect when they come out to the show?
Well, the idea is that we're just going to get up there and we're going to talk about the most ridiculous shit we can in the funniest way possible. And I mean, that's really it, man. I mean, the goal is to come out and have fun. You know what I'm saying? And I think that in this world that we live in, right, there's a lot of misery and sorrow and bad times. And we want to alleviate that for 1 hour. We just want to bring you out. We want to make you laugh and have a good time. And we'll do whatever we can to make that happen. And so we come up with a lot of stupid questions. We come up with a lot of dumb ideas. And then we argue them with the most sincerity that we possibly can. I mean, last time we had Mona arguing that if God doesn't make mistakes, why did he put the G-spot in the man's ass, right? So, like, we bring you out and we talk with you and we just try to bring a little levity to a world full of strife.
Damn, talking about powerful writing, dude.
I feel like I've been pranked. Like, you guys all like wrote a script for tonight, and I just walked in winging it. Like,
you have looked really dumb. That's why I was like, fuck, I gotta get on there and make it. Dude, you look stupid as hell.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much par for the course for Nick. When we did the first show, I was there all day setting up. Nick rolled in at 6:45, and immediately attacked all the hard work I did. So this is how our working relationship is.
What a dick.
Yeah.
So, anyways, love you guys. Fuck.
Love you. So, are we gonna have some sort of cooling device for the cake this time?
We have a new surprise. I really love the idea of having a hog's head as the final prize, but they are very hard to source. I can't find a pig's head anywhere for a reasonable price. I don't know what a reasonable price is, but I can't find a hog's head anywhere. So if you got a line on one, I would love to, but we're gonna figure something else out.
Well, now we can't do it because it's supposed to be a surprise prize, and now you just told the world. So even if they did have a lead on a hog's head,
it would be worth it. It would be worth it to have a hog's head. I think I like the idea of a hog's head, but we'll find some other hog related prize that people can win.
By the way, Cody, we didn't need a cooling system for that cake because apparently that ice cream's so fake it doesn't actually melt. That cake was completely intact at the end of the show.
And it was delicious.
Oh man, I was like expecting to just watch it slide.
Yeah, it did. It folded a little bit, but it mostly kept its structure. It was completely edible after sitting on stage for an hour and a half or longer.
I was so excited. That was the thing I was most excited about, was to watch that thing melt the whole fucking time, and it just stayed together because it's made of like plastic and fucking, I don't know, Chinese tears or whatever. They fucking, it's held up remarkably well. So good job, Hannaford, for developing a strong ice cream cake.
I mean, they think they figure at this point we're mostly made up of microplastics, so they might as well just make all the food out of it.
Yeah. Ironically, there's enough microplastics in you to make a fork that you could then eat the cork with, the cake with. The cork with? What an idiot! God, I look so stupid right now.
You're fired. If anybody else wants to be a co-host of Wrong Hill to Die On, we fired Nick. So.
So I know you guys have some surprises in store, so you don't have to spoil much, but are there any changes from the first installment to the second that you can share with us?
So the audience voting was a failure. So we're gonna have a new method. We're gonna have a new method to pick the winners. The problem was we wanted a round of applause, but everybody wanted to be nice to everybody, so everybody got the same round of applause. And I even tried saying, "Hey, don't clap for the person who sucks. Only clap for the one person you like," and it wasn't working. So
usually the crowd sucks because they're fucking rude.
Oh, what's that?
Usually the crowd sucks because they're fucking rude. This crowd sucked because they couldn't fucking make up their mind.
Yeah, that's like the one time we want you to heckle our comics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alex is also going to be shirtless.
I will not pull a Bert Kreischer.
Come on, just do it. I'm trying to convince you to do it shirtless.
That's a first for me.
What was that?
I said I've been to Anchors Up. You think that's a first for me?
That is true. That is true.
We've all seen Alex shirtless many times, and we want to see more. God damn it!
I have a nice homosexual skinhead gentleman. He's probably watching this right now, who likes to remind me in my DMs about how great I look shirtless. So that has made me want to keep my shirt on more. Sorry, buddy.
We're trying to bring in the homosexual skinhead crowd. So if you know any, send them our way.
It's a big that's a big group. That's a big demographic. If Colgate was targeting that demographic, they would sell so much more toothpaste. I don't know why that's funny, but it worked on Nick.
Oh my god. So I know you guys said the show is pretty close to sell. I just have to point out that, like, this is very peculiar for me. I have my camera and microphone here, and usually I'm on it. So I keep looking at the camera, but I'm on my phone. So I just feel like I'm fucking slow tonight.
I put my cameras and my computer set up so that it probably just looks like I have a lazy eye. It's just that far off that I'm just barely not looking at the camera. So
I just keep leaning into my mic, and I'm like, well, let me see if this sounds better.
Yeah.
I know the show is pretty close to sold out, but where can people get tickets to if they're interested in checking this out?
It's the wronghill.eventbrite.com. And if you just search Eventbrite for The Wrong Hill to Die On, you'll find it. I believe even if you Google The Wrong Hill to Die On tickets, you'll find it. If you search it on Facebook, you'll find the event page with the link. If you follow Nick or I, you will see the link daily. So no excuse for not finding tickets, or just slide in our DMs. Or if you don't know us and you know Cody or Danny, DM them and ask them how to get tickets, and they'll send you our way, I'm sure. So wrong. If you're actually a self-sufficient adult, it's wronghill.eventbrite.com.
Oh my god, that was awesome. So honestly, so usually when I close out the show, I run through a bunch of fucking podcasts that I like, and so I normally mention your guys' shit anyways. But do you guys have some shit that you want to plug in addition to the show?
So I'm going to plug two things here. One, Mocha Pot every Tuesday. It's called Mocha Mike. It's a comedy open mic. We've been getting over 20 comics a week. At the moment, it's BYOB because they're still working on getting their liquor license. So it's a cheap place to bring a 12-pack, come hang out, listen to comics, good and bad. All great, but bad sometimes because we're trying new jokes, right? And just come out and enjoy it. We've started to get regular audience members that are sitting around the whole night and enjoying it. It's relatively new. Every Tuesday, 8:30, Mocha Pot on Hanover Street. And also go to Mocha Pot for coffee when you're down there too. It's a great spot. Great breakfast sandwiches, pastries, all good stuff. Second thing I want to plug is not mine or Nick's. It's a newer podcast called The Corner Store. It's a comedian friend of ours, Justin Connor, and his friend whose name I forget, but Justin Connor is a great local up and coming comedian. His podcast, The Corner Store, is super fun. So check that out.
I don't really have anything to plug.
What?
No, you can go check me out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to go. The main thing I would like to plug is if you're watching this, buy a ticket to Wrong Hill to Die On. It's really going to be a great time. We really upped the ante on it, and we really want to crush it.
And go subscribe to Nick Sands Presents on YouTube since he's being modest. He's a little slower on it lately, but there's tons of good back episodes to watch, and he will be back strong with tons of good shit on there.
One day, once the head shrinking surgery is a success, I'm gonna get back on it. Yeah,
he's waiting for his balls to drop.
Go check me out on OnlyFans.
I watch both of you guys' podcasts every week, so I hope you guys get back to it. We dead ass closed the show by going, shout out to some of our favorite podcasts that we watch, including LaChance Encounters, Nick Sands Presents, Airing of Grievances, The YDD Show, Right Mind Podcast.
Well, if you got to give shit to anybody, it's Airing of Grievances. That podcast is great, and I just noticed there's only 11 episodes. I was on it like a year and a half ago. Get to work.
Yeah, they haven't done an episode in months.
There's only 11 episodes of Airing of Grievances?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're watching this right now, go to @AreaGrievances on Instagram and tell them you need more episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't tell them I sent you because I don't want Brad to put me in a trash can or anything.
Oh my gosh. Dude, thank you guys so much for making time for this. Apologies for all of our crazy technical difficulties. We definitely need to do another one of these because there's so many more things that we need to talk about, and we should recap how well the show goes. I'm excited to get my ticket soon. You guys make sure you go get your ticket, wronghill.eventbrite.com. Make sure you follow both of these guys, subscribe to their YouTube channels, follow them on social media. Yeah, you guys fucking rule. Thank you so much for making time for this tonight. This was a blast.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
And Danny, I'm sorry I came in so hot. I was just kidding. I feel really guilty about it, to be honest with you.
He's full of shit. The whole time he's been texting me, he's like, I'm going to get that toothless fuck. I can't stand I hate people missing teeth. Yeah, Nick's an asshole.
I was just very happy to hear that he had an OnlyFans because maybe he'll be able to get the hair plugs.
Nick Sands presents his dick at OnlyFans.com.
And then he'll finally be able to afford the penis expansion and the hair plugs.
About time. And the asshole tightening surgery. All right.
Don't do that. I still want to fit in there.
There'll be another winter. We need to be warm.
The only way Nick's getting inside of me is if he cuts me open like Luke Skywalker did and hides inside of me.
I don't
Where's
have
that Han,
enough dick.
where's that Han
I don't
Solo?
have enough
I'm not
dick.
a big enough. I'm not a big
I don't
enough.
have enough dick to
bastard.
get past those ass cheeks. They're like fucking 2.5 feet wide.
I mean, everyone knew you didn't have enough dick.
Oh my god. All right, we're out of here. Good night, world. We'll see you next Monday. Go buy tickets to Wrong Hill to Die On. And thanks for putting up with our shit. Much love.